Here corruption was at its worst. Haunted by the voice of the dragons, one by one, men were losing their minds. Draconic blood stained the earth and corrupted the beings who walked upon it. Weak spirits gave in to these temptations without putting up any resistance. Obeying the commands of their new masters, they drank dragon's blood and gave themselves over to perversity. Thus enslaved, they were transformed into repulsive creatures known as Dragonkins. Men, women, children and animals, slaves devoted to their cruel masters, grotesque-looking monsters blindly obeying the Dragon Lord. Only the most virtuous souls, supported by the Eternal, knew how to resist the corrupting call that led the living to perdition. They were few in number, and the light of men was already no more than a dying flame in the depths of darkness. But it was said that it would not be extinguished. On the strength of this last hope, some brave souls formed an alliance and prepared to swoop in at the first breach in the draconic defenses. The power of the Dragonkins was strong in these parts. It merged our world with that of the Banished. With a heroic breakthrough, Godefroy de Clerval shattered their occult shield. This act of bravery, a feat of the alliance of just men, allowed me to lend a hand to the soldiers of the Order of the Eternal. I, Almantea, great oracle of Pithoderkon, a dragon blood, a human altered by the draconic blood that ran through my veins. Although we hadn't surrendered our souls to the Banished lords, my sisters and I had powers that were unique to dragons. Neither Dragonkins nor totally human, we had received these extraordinary abilities from our ancestors. They had drunk the blood of the only banished dragon to have repented before the Eternal to this day. These few drops of draconic blood linked us to the dragons through our thoughts. Struck by fleeting visions, we could fleetingly watch their actions and experience the feelings that animated them. It was a gift and a curse. This power put us at the mercy of their voices. It threatened us with sinking to the draconic side, with no hope of salvation. But the fearsome bond that united us to the dragons had also made us awakened beings. We lived in the certainty that the Eternal One had granted forgiveness to our draconic past. Our civilization died with the blue dragon Pythodurcon. We then had to live among the men of the city of the Order of the Eternal, despite the fear we inspired in them. Close to Sar Iknog's rift, Godefroy, fighting fire with fire, confronted the draconic hordes. I was fighting alongside him, but my strategy was quite different. Thanks to my draconic power, I opened a passageway where the men of Neurogard could enter, all ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to save what was left of humanity. Once this occult barrier had been broken, they knew their lives were hanging by a thread. These warriors from the cold didn't care, because in their eyes there was no greater honor than falling to the enemy. Commanded by Harold Trulson, the White Dragonblood, the barbarian fleet had a single objective: to lure the enemy out to sea so as to leave the area around Sour Iknog's rift clear. If just one ship reached the coast, this sacrifice would not have been made in vain. Harold Trulson would land in hostile territory and avenge the deaths of Toriel's clan. The barbarians of Neurogard feared neither pain nor death. They did not shy away from violence. And Trulson less than anyone else. He had spent his life suffering, growing stronger, preparing himself to endure the worst torments without losing the one thing that mattered to the warriors of his clan: his soul. While the Knights of the Order of the Eternal had always forbidden themselves from using dragon blood, the warriors of the North, true to their values, had run the risk. Braving mortal peril, a few overtrained clansmen had managed to drink white dragon blood without succumbing to the corrupting voices. Trulson was one of them. Now a dragon-blooded barbarian, he had given up part of his humanity at the cost of ultimate pain. In exchange, he had received draconic powers, which he had put to use in the service of his clan, Toriel, the Eternal, and humanity. although everyone, from Montesquieu to Nurogard, recognized the courage and self-sacrifice shown by these warriors, there was not one who did not regard them with the utmost disgust. No one doubted their loyalty to Toriel, defender of the Eternal, but their bodies, soiled by the dragon, were rejected by men. Truelson, however, mocked his appearance, for he had kept his soul. The white dragon blood had achieved his goal. The Alliance's plan, so unlikely to succeed, could go ahead. The barbarian waited for the green signal, the one that would indicate where to strike to break through the enemy defenses and draw the dragons away from the breach. As proud and impassive as the warriors of the north, the nomads of Congerat, who had come from the moors beyond the horizon, had joined the alliance of men to repel Saur Iknog, the red dragon. Riding their draconic hybrids, these trackers archers faced the dragons without trembling or faltering. These hunters would never let the enemy turn them into prey. Skin, wings, teeth, blood. For them, every draconic monstrosity was a threat, but also a game offering precious resources. And while other peoples had resisted by praying to the divine light, these nomads exploited everything the land and Providence offered them to survive. However, at their head, the great tracker Eula did not see things their way. Of all her traveling people, she was the first to recognize the value of this eternal. She rejected neither the ancestral traditions nor the hunt for dragonkins that had enabled the Congerat to excel in the fields of potions, alchemy, poisons, and draconic hybridization. Or even the meditation which for a moment allowed her people to escape the voices of the dragons. However, she knew what the celestial light could bring to her people. How much longer would her people be able to travel freely if corruption poisoned the entire known world? This draconic taint would transform everything, animals, plants, land. It would shatter the harmony necessary for the survival of her tribe. This is why she had joined the alliance of men. To seal this union, the Order of the Eternal had entrusted her with one of its most powerful relics, the Scale of Light. According to legend, this scale once belonged to one of the Drakiels. It was lost in battle when these beings of light repelled the banished dragon lords who had got too close to the surface. Each champion possessed one, and the power of their combined lights was to cast Tsar Iknog into darkness. Armed with her scale of light, it was up to Eula to launch the invocation. She would then know if she had made a mistake in trusting the Order and joining the Alliance. The power of the light was unrivaled. We heard the Dragon Lord screaming in our heads, drunk with rage and pain. So close to the Draco world, our souls suffered 1,000 deaths, but none of us retreated. Repelling corruption, the divine light sealed the breach. And so it was that Tsar Iknog the Banished disappeared into the darkness to serve his eternal punishment. When calm returned, we were the only ones left to witness the feat accomplished by the alliance of men. But more aware than ever that draconic evil remained present deep in the abyss, impatient to break free once more. And so, it was from the union of men and their newfound fraternity in the face of the draconic threat that an elite corps was born within the Order of the Eternal, the Dragon Hunter Squad.